Welcome back for another episode of Get the Guac. And joining me is Katie Swinson of Compass Home Group, who used to be an occupational therapist and is now more of a senior-focused real estate agent.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
You did.
Perfect. So kind of a unique culmination or Venn diagram of different skills. Let's pretend that I'm in third grade. Explain to me what an occupational therapist is and what they do for people.
Sure. Yeah. So you know what a physical therapist is, right?
Yes. Knee replacement. You need to do some exercise and to get it back.
Yeah. Yeah. So the saying is that PTs teach you how to walk and OT teaches you how to dance. So OTs are very much, we can focus on your strength, we can focus on your balance, but we also focus on your environment and trying to make sure that that is balanced out with your abilities so that you can have the best life, the best quality of life possible. So we go in there and we can modify the environment, we can modify you, we can modify the task and just try to make it better for you.
Right. So is it more physical or more mental, or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination. It's very holistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody recovering from an injury or maybe a surgery or something, and they need to get that mobility and functionality back in their life, occupational therapists come in and help get back to where they were or advance.
Exactly.
Excellent. So why did you, we'll start with the occupational therapy, even though that's not the primary focus anymore.
Sure.
What got you into that business? What was it that drew you in?
Yeah. So my mom was actually an occupational therapist, and I always said, I don't know why you do this. It seems like a terrible job.
Right, of course.
Yeah. And then my mom actually had a stroke when I was in 11th grade, and I saw how the OT really helped her bounce back, right? So she was actually on her deathbed. It was, very scary. Yeah. And the OT actually came and kind of helped her do all of the things that she needed to do again. So it wasn't just like going from a wheelchair to a walker to a cane and being able to walk around. It was very much like, well, how are you going to open this spaghetti sauce with one hand now? Right. Type of thing. So
how was she as a patient, given that she
she's so stubborn.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, I'm not going to do it that way.
Yeah.
Which I think you need a little bit of that spark to survive something like that. So, yeah.
And did she make a very strong recovery?
Yep. She's thriving right now. Still, she is paralyzed on her right side, but she's able to do everything that she normally would have been able to.
I had a family member that was in a hit-and-run car accident with traumatic brain injury, fractures. I mean, just a mess. And that was kind of my first introduction to OT, was getting him to come back to the functionality that he had before.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a period where it was, we were in court and we were going through the experience, and he mentioned at occupational therapy, they said you have 1 minute, list as many animals as you can in 1 minute. When you say that, you start rattling through whatever the animals are that come to our mind.
Sure.
He said, in front of everybody, said, I was going through the list and I felt like I was crushing it. Like I just got so many of them. And at the end, clicked the timer, they said 4. You got 4 animals in a minute. So that was when he realized something wasn't quite, that still needed improvement. 100% recovery. So
good.
So that's your why. So you have firsthand experience watching your mom go through occupational therapy and then giving occupational therapy earlier.
Yeah.
How does that translate to real estate and people who are looking to buy a home that are maybe older in age and some of those considerations?
Yeah. So my origin story, that's my origin story for OT, right? So my origin story for real estate actually came from one of my patients. I've always treated older adults in their homes or in assisted livings or independent livings. And it was right around COVID. And if you weren't dying from isolation or COVID or fall, you were just dying because you couldn't get out of your house, right? So I kept hitting my head against a wall, feeling like something was missing. There was some sort of education missing, that people kept getting stuck in these situations where they couldn't get out of their house.
Right.
Something was going on. And the client that sticks out the most is she was actually in a row home. And she hadn't showered in 7 years. She was sleeping on a couch for that many years too. And she was still using like a bedside commode. So she hadn't actually been in a bathroom for years.
Mobility issues, is that?
Yeah, she couldn't make it up the stairs. She had COPD, so then the oxygen tubing couldn't help her get up the stairs.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
what a mess.
Yeah, and then it wasn't safe in general because she could make it halfway and she'd be out of breath. So I think seeing all of that, and you can go through and say, well, we can do this here, we can do that here, but people only have so many resources at a given time, right? And when a crisis hits, you don't have those resources anymore either. You kind of have one option and one way.
Right.
And I wanted to come at it very proactively to say, before a crisis hits and you have no other options, here's what you can do to make sure that you're set up better. And that's kind of why I ended up in real estate.
There's a saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
That's exactly right.
Planning a little bit ahead might make your life infinitely easier down the road.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your senior real estate specialist designation.
I did.
So tell me a little bit about that, and what are some of the things that as people are getting aging, maybe the family house that they raised all the kids, but now they have kids of their own, they don't need all that space. What are some of those things in your experience people should consider as they're looking to make a move in retirement?
Oh yeah, there's so many. I think the biggest thing we usually go to is that once you're an empty nester, so to speak, you have all of these rooms, you have all of these memories that feel like you're taking up these rooms, but then you also have to heat and cool these rooms. You have to dust them and maintain them. So that's the biggest thing, is trying to help teach people that, your memories don't survive in that object. They come with you, and you can have different ways to help you take those memories with you as well.
Mm-hmm.
But then also teaching people that the house can really make or break you, right? So if you have 4 steps to get up into your house and then something happens, you have a fall, you break a hip, you have a stroke, something happens along those lines that we're never expecting, having to get back into that house, then it's you have to make a lot of changes to it, and kind of going around it that way.
Those 4 steps can start to look like a mountain.
They definitely can. Yeah. And then also, going into the surroundings of it. So my parents live in an amazing house. I grew up there, but it's 20 minutes to the nearest doctor, the nearest urgent care, the nearest hospital.
Right.
Right? So taking that into account too is really important.
What are some layout designs in a home that if somebody wants to plan ahead and age in home, what are some considerations they should look for in a house?
Yeah, great question. Usually the answer is always going to be like a 1-level layout, right? So ideally a bedroom and a bathroom on the first floor is great. But even if it's not already set up that way, having the option for it. So at least having a half bath on the main floor, having a space that could be turned into a bedroom, some sort of privacy for you, that's all really important too. And I think this is going to sound silly, but people miss out on coat closets.
Okay.
You really need. Yeah. It's so important to have all of your things kind of put away, but in a space that's close to your main entrance.
So storage on the first level.
Storage on the first level is a great point. Laundry on the level that you are actually living on, so that you're not carrying your clothes up and down everywhere, is super important too.
I feel like houses built before 2000, it was always in the basement or someplace inconvenient.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Too funny. And then what are some of the resistance, I guess, as you're working with clients and they're realizing I don't want to do these stairs anymore, I would imagine it's one of the big ones. How hard is it for them to get rid of their stuff and then actually fit it in the coat closet that's maybe a little bit bigger and everything on the first level?
That is the biggest thing. Decluttering to downsize. I think it has such a negative connotation to it. I mean, you have the word down in there. It really should be thinking about like up-leveling your lifestyle, because the less stuff you have, the more time you have for everything else that you want to do. Right? So I mentioned this a little earlier, but we tie our memories and our emotions and our thoughts to all of the things, right? It could be the plate that your grandmother gave you for your wedding and it was from her wedding day. You're like, I absolutely cannot get rid of this, right? So those are usually the biggest pushbacks on thing of I can't get rid of this huge dining room table because it's been in the family for generations.
We moved a like wicker sunshade hat for my grandmother. She
Yeah.
was her things made her feel comfortable coming out of the
Sure.
depression era, I should say.
Yeah.
And we moved this hat, I think, 5 different times. Now the only thing about the hat was it had a huge hole with missing. You could see right through, and she would
Yeah.
always say, "Well, you can get that fixed. You can get that fixed." We're
Of
like, "Well, you
course.
have it in 5 houses, and we'll keep moving it."
Yeah.
She's like, "What was that?" We said, "Nothing, Grandma," and then we just moved it, right?
Yeah.
But we did have the scenario where she loved having her stuff, and we just kind of moved around. But then when she was no longer with us, we had to figure out what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember talking to a client. He said, Joe, I'm going through, his wife passed away. He's going through his things. He's like, in my garage, I have piles. One is really good stuff that I can donate. One is maybe give it to Goodwill, and then one was a trash pile. He's like, but to be honest with you, I think I have all my piles like one thing over. Nobody wants this stuff. No one's going to take it. Really, it's donated. Nobody my kids don't want it, so just donate it to people that might want it. And then anything that I thought might be somewhat donatable is probably just trash.
Yes.
But I heard this saying once, I don't love anything that doesn't love me back.
Oh.
And I think that's so true of a lot of these things that we have.
Yeah.
The hutch.
Very Marie Kondo of you.
Yeah, it's very, does it bring you joy, right? Is that
Yes.
Marie's thing?
Does it spark joy?
Does it spark joy?
Yeah.
And, we came and we had a dumpster, and within 4 hours, a crew brought all that stuff out. It really wasn't anything that we'd feel good giving to somebody.
Sure.
Anything that was good, we did, but most of it just ended up leaving.
I think that's the biggest thing. So that is, the emotional ties to it, and then it makes you feel good, whatever the reason is. Sometimes it is because you came out of the depression era and you feel like you need those things. And a lot of the times you can solve some of that by doing different like memory books. So you take pictures of the items,
Right.
and then you have the memory book with you. You could put it in like a little shadow box too of like, here's the little trinkets that I'm going to keep type of thing.
Yeah.
And that can help. But then you are right. I think the other part of it is people don't want to get rid of things because they want to make sure it's going to a good place. So a lot of the times people are like, I don't want to just give it to Goodwill. I want to make sure it has a good home because I've loved it. So a lot of the times it's working through with my clients of, okay, well, we can't just give it to your family because the family is now, everyone's minimalist.
Right.
Right? Like we don't want stuff.
Experiences over things. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is the biggest hurdle that many of my clients run into is that my family's already said no, and I can't pawn it off on them, even though that was my plan. So what do I do now? I'm not just going to give it to Goodwill. And there's so many other great places around that can take it and use it for a good cause. And I think if you're able to take a picture of it, keep it with you somehow, and then give it to somewhere that has a good cause, it can be really helpful too.
And I'm just thinking out loud, is it better for the aging adults to try to downsize that stuff, or just keep it and the kids will deal with it and bring the dumpster and the crew afterwards?
I think it's always going to depend on the person, but typically people like to have their independence for as long as possible, right? Which is why downsizing sometimes has such a bad connotation to it. So I always like to keep that control with the person as long as possible. And there are going to be situations where you just keep too much stuff and then the kids deal with it after. But I think it's a question then to the client, your older adult client, of do you want your kids to have to deal with this? Is this something you want them to be burdened with when they have 2 crazy kids and like dealing with work and all that good stuff? But
using your occupational therapy background, what are some things on a checklist that people maybe now it's time to start considering moving to something more age appropriate?
Sure. It's usually when you're avoiding the stairs. So if your laundry is in the basement because you're in that 1970s rancher, and you're avoiding the downstairs because it's just too hard now, that's usually a big sign.
Yeah.
If you used to be a big lawn guy and now the lawn has weeds in it, it's growing, it's overgrown, there's grass coming up from your sidewalk, that's usually a sign.
It's too much to keep up with.
Yeah. Yep. And then a lot of the times around the holidays is when people start noticing with their families too of, okay, well, dad's repeated the same story to me a couple of times. Or, I walked in and dad just said hi, and that's not his normal greeting to me.
Yeah.
Those are usually red flags too, to start having that conversation.
Yeah.
And asking the tough questions of what's your day look like? Right? Like, are you lonely? What are you doing? Are you watching TV all day? Are you being active? Do you want to go to the store? Are you not going to the store anymore because it's just too hard to get in the car?
Right.
Are you afraid of driving now?
Yeah.
All that good stuff.
So stairs, home maintenance that usually, and then just mental acuity
Sure.
slipping.
Yeah.
Now it's time to, and how does that usually go if the kids bring up the topic of maybe, hey, mom, dad, it's time to go somewhere else that's more conducive to where you are currently?
Usually if the kids bring it up, it's never great, right? So
Right.
I think, and most of the time kids do have to bring it up. It has to be that question, because we can often just get so stuck in our ways of, okay, I'm fine, I'm doing this. And then when you get in a new situation, you realize how much you are actually struggling to try and just survive.
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned, instead of coming at it of you have to do it this way, like you have to move, this is what's happening, having the conversation of what's actually going on, how are you feeling, what are you seeing? Like,
Giving these adults who have been independent their whole lives choice rather than dictating.
Yep, exactly.
Because as kids, we know how much we enjoyed that when our parents.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe kids now were like, "Hey, it's my turn. I'm going to lay the hammer down. This is what's happening."
Yeah, maybe.
Or you're going to be grounded. Right?
Exactly.
Dad. Yeah. So all right, let's fast forward. Retirees deciding they're going to go into that home where they can age in place. What are some of the pros and cons or differences between building a home or buying one and maybe modifying it to suit your needs? How do we think about those two options?
Yeah, so I think that's also what makes me unique as a real estate agent, is because as an OT, I can go into your house and I can help you modify your home so that it is safe for you. I can talk to you about your shower. We can talk about grab bar placements. We can talk about ramps and things like that. But it does have to make sense, right? At a certain point, modifications to your house, they add up, and it just doesn't make sense for you to stay there. And that bottom line is going to come down to the person and what they're deciding to do. Whereas you said building a home, I would also just throw out like the resale, buying a house that's already out there, and knowing that less than 1% of homes are actually fully accessible in the United States right now. So knowing that you probably are going to have to make some modifications to it. But if you're currently living in a split level where you have steps either way, and there's no main level living for you or no option for that, it might make more sense to go to the next house that's a little more manageable.
Right. All right. So we're coming down the wire here to our rapid fire questions.
Oh boy, okay.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
All right. One home feature everyone thinks they want but don't actually need.
Probably the soft closed drawers.
Soft closed door. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Soft closed drawers. That's just a funny one. One home feature, it's usually, people always want it to be pretty, right? People want the pretty countertops, the pretty kitchen, the open concept of it. But what you really need is to imagine yourself in that place and make sure it's actually going to work for you in your daily life. Like, if an open concept is going to be too much noise and you have hearing aids in and you need that one-on-one attention, open concept is not for you. If it's a house that has 10 different floorings throughout and you have Parkinson's, that's not going to work for you, because that threshold is going to throw you off and probably cause more falls. So function over pretty.
Yes. Most important room to evaluate for aging in place?
The bathroom, because it's harder to install a bathroom wherever you go versus just making something into a bedroom. So making sure, and usually that's where most of the falls happen at home, is in a bathroom, because it's wet, it's crowded, it's tinier.
What's harder, helping someone declutter or helping them buy a house?
A declutter.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can believe it.
Yeah. All the emotion tied to it.
One thing people keep way too long when downsizing.
That random box of cables that we all have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but one day.
Yeah, one day you're gonna need it.
Oh my gosh, we're all living the same life. Everyone has
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
If you could wave a magic wand and add one feature to every home, what would it be?
Probably a no threshold entry. So
No
at
threshold
the
entry.
at the front door, no steps, just no threshold, go in and out because it makes it easier for anyone in a wheelchair, a walker, but even moms that are carrying 1,000,002 bags and screaming children and a stroller.
I've been there.
Yes.
All right, and lastly, Katie, where can people find you and learn more if they're interested in your help?
Yeah, so you can find me on our Compass Home Group website, and I'm also on Instagram, so it's Katie Swinson Realty. But you can always call me as well. My cell phone is 443-791-0569.
Awesome. Well, Katie, thank you so much for coming in and sharing some of your
Sure.
wisdom as it comes to aging. As you know, our clients are more getting towards or in retirement, so I
Sure.
think this is a great topic to review. So thank you so much. This was fun.
Anytime. Thank you.
Awesome.